Alright guys, we'll go ahead and we'll start in the front. So basically, you're looking at about 5 and 7 drop on this truck. And when the truck got here, it was already lowered a little bit. And the way they had lowered the truck, they cut a coil off the front spring, and the rear had all the leaves taken out but the main leaf. So the truck was real bouncy in the back. And so what we went ahead and did up front was we went with a 2-inch React spindle, and we decided to keep the one coil on the stock spring. And a lot of times, I mean, I'm okay with that. And the biggest reason why, you still have the factory rated spring under the truck for the factory V8, so you don't get any bouncing with going with a drop spring or a lot of times, in my opinion, the drop springs are a lot softer spring rate spring, and I feel like you get a little bit more bouncing or a lot more travel, and like going across bridges and things like that. So we decided to go ahead and keep the one coil cut off the front, which should give you about 2 inches, 2.5 inches or so, give or take. And then with the 2-inch drop spindle, and by the time it all settles, it's very, very close to right at 5 inches almost in the front, about 4.5, 4 3/4 across the nose. So the front turned out perfect as far as how it sits. It's got all brand new upper lower control arms with ball joints, tie rods, everything's all brand new underneath the front of the truck. And since going with the React spindles, you have to upgrade the brakes. This being an 88, an early truck, the early trucks come with inch rotor and a smaller rear bearing. With React spindles, they only run the bigger bearing in the back for the 93 and up. So anytime you go with the React spindles on an early truck, keep that in mind. You're going to have to go with the 93 and up rotor and caliper and bearings. The caliper's a little bit wider because the rotor is a 1/4 inch thicker. So just keep that in mind. You will have to upgrade the brakes, which isn't a downfall. Most of the time, these older trucks, they need that done anyway. So you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. In my opinion, those drop spindles are way worth the money. So that's pretty much what we did up front. Oh yeah, and it also was missing its front sway bar whenever it got here. So I grabbed one of them, got it in the sway bar, put back underneath the front of it, and that's helped out a lot too with how the truck handles. So in the rear of the truck, it's all Beltec as far as the notch, the flip kit, the shackles, and the shock extensions. And I've got the 2-inch shackles in the 1-inch hole. So it's roughly about 6.5, 7 inches in the rear. And then I had to go ahead and we put brand new leaf springs underneath the truck. Like I said, all its leaves were gone except for the main leaf in the rear. So that wasn't going to work. That was just entirely too soft. This truck isn't going to work no more. That's not going to be pulling nothing anymore. Might have a pair of chairs in the back and maybe a cooler, and that'll be about it. But still, just the one spring would just be entirely too bouncy. So we went ahead and done it right, put brand new leaf springs in the back, and the truck rides amazing. We got some shorter shocks coming. The shocks that we have on it right now are just a little bit too long. The driver's side wants to bottom out because of the angle of where they mount. The passenger side is great, but it's a little steeper mounting points on the driver's side. If you've ever worked on these trucks, guys, you'll know what I'm talking about. But so pretty much as far as the suspension goes, that's what we did on it. We discussed possibly doing a disc brake conversion in the rear when we first touched bases about the truck, and was thinking about maybe waiting until winter to go ahead and get it lowered so he can enjoy it this summer. and because obviously that adds a little bit of time onto a build and a project to do stuff like that. But once I got the truck tore down, both wheel cylinders were leaking and the rear drums were just absolutely terrible. So we went ahead and ordered everything up from Cunningham Machine, the brackets. Went ahead and sourced all the parts off their part list from GM, and it was a pretty easy 5-lug conversion, or disc brake conversion for the back of this truck. I'm pretty tickled with how that turned out. So he went ahead and he didn't want to put the stock bumper back on this truck. The stock bumper that was on it was kind of bent up, and he decided to go with a company that sells these brackets to do this. This is a Ford Econoline style van bumper that it comes with everything template wise. You notch it out to put the recessed plate pocket in it, and the brackets for the OBS truck in order to put this bumper on this truck. And I was kind of iffy about the look just because I've never seen one of them in person, but after seeing it on the truck, it has turned out way better than I ever dreamed. So he's tickled with that. But for the most part, guys, this truck, it took me a little bit longer than I wanted it to. I run into a couple small things that give me a little bit of trouble, and I mean, that's to be expected with these older trucks. I mean, like I said, most of the parts that was on this truck were all the original stuff. I mean, I'm probably, judging by how everything come apart, was the first person to take a lot of this stuff apart since the guys put it on there in '88. So I had one of my buddies that does electrical work, like car radios, stereos, wiring harnesses, all that stuff on the side, come over and hook up his retro sound Bluetooth, and it turned out great. And new speakers in the dash. So for the most part, guys, this truck is buttoned up, and it will be heading home first thing in the morning. And it's one of those bittersweet moments. I enjoy working on them and watching how they turn out, but it's kind of tough to see them leave, because you know, you'd like to be able to keep them all hanging around and stuff, but it don't work out that way. It's time for this gentleman to take this truck and enjoy it, and hopefully with that being said, there'll be more of these trucks to come. So